Thanks for downloading the Beyond the Numbers podcast. If you hear anything you need clarity on or want more information, visit mycampbellandco.cpa. You can also find more contact information in today's show notes. Thanks for listening. And now, the Beyond the Numbers podcast.
Welcome back to Beyond the Numbers. I'm Randy Cardis. Today, we're talking about the physician P&L trust crisis and how orthopedic leaders fix it in the real world. This is for physician owners, CFOs, controllers, COOs, CEOs, and practice leaders. Man, that's a mouthful. Who want the physician P&L to drive decisions and not conflict. I've lived inside finance teams. I've also been in the partner meetings where a report shows up and the air changes. The goal today is simple. We're going to name what's really happening, why it happens so often in orthopedic groups, and how to rebuild trust without turning your life into a 6-month allocation project. You'll get practical language you can say out loud, mini stories from real practice life, a meeting reset framework for when things get heated, and a 5-step playbook that leaders can actually execute. I'll also do a quick demo of the physician P&L view in Sage Intacct so you can see what clean, consistent reporting looks like. You've been in the meeting where the P&L appears and the room gets tense, right? That's a pretty rough place to be. Let's start with the scene you probably know. The physician P&L hits the screen, people lean forward. Someone's eyes go straight to overhead. Somebody says, "That can't be right." The finance team starts explaining the math. Leadership stops talking about growth, staffing, or service lines, and the meeting becomes a debate about fairness. I'm not saying that to blame anyone. I've seen this happen in well-run groups with good people. The hidden cost is what matters. Leadership time gets burned. Finance gets pulled into defense mode. Physician owners start distrusting the packet before they even open it. Decisions get delayed because nobody wants to commit based on numbers that don't feel connected to reality. Here's the truth line we're going to use today. When physician owners don't trust their P&L, leadership loses one of its most useful tools. That sounds serious because it is. The physician P&L is one of the best ways to align operations, compensation conversations, staffing, and strategy. When it turns into conflict, the practice pays for it in time, morale, and slow decisions. Does that feel familiar? The same argument repeating with new month labels? Trust doesn't mean every physician likes every number. Trust means the story behind the numbers feels real. A physician can look at the P&L and say, "I understand why my overhead moved," or I see what drove this change. They may still ask questions, and that's healthy. The tone shifts when the questions become curiosity instead of suspicion. On the leadership side, trust means the report can actually lead. It supports decisions about staffing, schedules, capacity, service line growth, and physician compensation without turning it into a monthly trial. The best sign of trust is that the meeting moves forward. The conversation stays on what to do next. In strong orthopedic groups, physician P&Ls help answer practical questions. Are we staffed correctly for the volume and case mix we have? Are we growing the right service lines? Or just getting busier? Are costs rising for a real reason, or are we leaking margin? Are we rewarding performance in a way that's understandable and defendable? When trust breaks, you lose that. The P&L becomes a stress test for relationships. And this is a leadership problem because it drains time and slows decisions. So would it change your meetings if your first 20 minutes went to decisions instead of defending overhead? Signs trust are breaking. Let's make this practical. Trust breaks down and looks different depending on your seat. So here are symptoms by role. If you're a physician owner, you might be hearing yourself say things like, "My overhead is too high," or I'm paying for someone else. You might see side conversations after the meeting because nobody wants to argue in the room. You might feel like the report is driving resentment, and you start questioning compensation logic and the partnership fairness. If you're the CFO or controller, you might be stuck in the same loop every month. You re-explain the same overhead logic. You make one-time adjustments that become permanent. You dread packet review because you know you'll spend time defending the model instead of discussing strategy. You may notice your team getting defensive, not because they're wrong, but because they're tired. If you're a practice administrator or an ops leader, you might see decision making stalling. Staffing requests get delayed. Location support becomes political. Physicians pushed back on shared resources. Instead of having a clear plan, the group keeps circling around fairness. This matters because the cost isn't just emotional, it's operational. When trust is low, decisions get slow. Slow decisions show up as wasted capacity, inconsistent staffing, and missed opportunities. So, which seat are you in today? Owner, finance, or ops? And do any of these symptoms match your week? Physician P&Ls often start out useful. In smaller groups, shared resources are more uniform and even split or even split with basic percentages, and they get close enough. Then the practice grows, and the model underneath the report doesn't evolve. Orthopedic groups add complexity fast. You add surgeons and mid-level providers, physician assistants. You expand clinics. You add ancillaries, and you take on different payer mixes. You run different schedules. You have physicians with a very different procedure intensity and clinic volume than others. Some locations need more support. Some physicians create more operational load through complexity, authorizations, and billing touches. Here's what that means. Shared cost usage stops being even, but the allocation method stays even. And it stays based on a single percent, like collections. The model starts telling a story people don't recognize. So a mini story parable. I've seen a group where one location ran like a machine and another location constantly needed extra staffing and coordination. The P&L split facility and support costs in a way that ignored the operational reality. The good location started feeling punished, and the messy location looked better than it should. That's when politics show up. When the model doesn't match how the practice actually runs, trust drops. And once trust drops, even good numbers won't help. Does your group or physicians clearly use shared resources differently? Most physician P&L conflict comes from blunt allocation logic. That's when shared costs get split using one simple rule, often an even split or percent of collections. It's easy to run. It's easy to explain. It also creates predictable conflict as soon as utilization differs. So 3 things happen almost every time. The first, some physicians get overcharged. They use less shared support. Maybe they're on PTO, less facility time, or less physician assistant help. They feel penalized. That reaction, it's rational. Second, other physicians get undercharged. They use more support. They consume more shared resources. Their P&L looks better than reality. That creates problems in compensation, staffing decisions, and planning. Third, true profitability gets hidden. Leaders lose signal. You can't confidently decide which service lines to expand or where to put your next office, where to invest, or how to handle underperforming schedules when the report is distorted. I once watched a group celebrate a physician's high profitability. Then operations quietly admitted that the physician created the biggest billing workload and the most scheduling chaos. The report wasn't seeing the operational cost. So leadership was making decisions with a blind spot. That's how resentment builds. This is why the P&L becomes a debate. The report is asking people to accept a story that just does not match their lived experiences. So, do you have at least one physician or a doctor who looks great on paper but creates a heavy operational load? Here's the simplest picture I use. Before you have one big overhead bucket, everything shared goes into it. Admin leadership, billing, scheduling, rent, IT, shared clinical support, everything. Then you split the bucket using one rule. That approach feels clean until it produces outcomes people don't explain. And people can't explain. Some physicians feel punished. Some physicians look better than they should. The meeting turns into a fairness debate instead of a performance discussion. After you move toward a layered view, direct costs that clearly belong to a physician stay direct. Shared support costs get assigned using drivers that match how the work gets created. Facility and admin costs get handled in a way that is consistent and understandable. So the goal here is not to build the perfect academic model. The goal is to build something you can explain in plain language and run the same way month after month. Consistency builds trust. Trust turns the P&L into a leadership tool again. I've watched a room calm down when the leaders simply show the before and after picture. People don't need a lecture. They need a story that matches reality. When the story matches reality, questions become constructive. So, would your meetings go differently if the model was explainable in 1 minute without defensiveness? In orthopedics, and in many healthcare offices, conflict usually starts in two places: physician's assistant time and shared services. PA support is one of the fastest ways to distort physician profitability. Some physicians use a lot of coverage. Some use very little. Some PAs float across locations. Some support ancillaries. And if the cost gets spread evenly, the physician using less support feels overcharged almost immediately. The scheduling effort isn't uniform. Billing effort isn't uniform. Claim complexity can differ. Authorization burden differs. A flat percent allocation hides these differences. I've sat with a billing manager who said quietly, this physician's work takes 3 times the time in effort. The P&L treated billing cost as a flat percent of collections. So leadership couldn't see the workload. That disconnect creates tension between finance and ops, and it creates resentment among physicians who feel the system rewards the wrong behavior. When leaders address these two areas, again, PA support and shared services, if we can address those two areas and get them to match actual operations, trust improves faster than most people can expect. It's not perfect, but better. Better is enough to shift the meeting tone. So if we fix just PA time logic in one shared service pool, maybe it's just facilities costs or your IT investments, would that remove a big chunk of the monthly debate for your group? Odds are it probably does. So let me give you 2 examples so you can picture this. PA time, this is example 1. A group spreads PA costs evenly. One physician runs heavy clinic volume and uses most PA coverage. Another uses less PA help. The second physician feels overcharged and the P&L becomes a fairness argument. The fix is assigning PA cost using a driver that reflects actual usage. Maybe it's coverage hours. Another term could be block time. Clinic days, visit volume, some blend that matches reality. When the story fits that reality, the tone will change quickly. Example B, this is a really good one for shared services. A group allocates scheduling and billing as a flat percentage of collections. A few physicians have more complex payer mix and more denials and authorization burden. Flat allocation hides that workload. Where do we think our shared service are spending most of their time? Profitability will look clean, but operations knows the effort is not. The fix is using drivers tied to workload. So claim volume, encounter volume, complexity tiers, even a simple 2-tier model could work. The goal is defensible logic. That's what I want you to notice. In both examples, nobody became a better person. The model became easier to accept. And that's what changes the meeting. So I got to ask, do you have one physician P&L that routinely triggers disagreement? Like everyone circles the same few lines every time you meet. I'm going to role play this because it's easier to hear me than to explain it. Trust broken meetings sound like this. Physician owner, my overhead is insane. I'm paying for everyone else. CFO, we split overhead evenly, and it's a fairness method. And it's really the fairest method. The owner says, fair to who? My clinic doesn't run like that. CFO, we can't track everything. This is the best we can do. Physician owner, so I'm supposed to accept a report that punishes me because it's convenient. That phrase, best we can do, is gasoline to the fire. It signals surrender. That's where there's probably underlying a reason for this. Maybe the system just doesn't support the ability to do this. It could be, too, you just don't have the right people on the team to make it possible. Those are all fixable things, my friends. Here's another sample meeting where it can be improved with the right system in place and the right people and processes in place. Where your owner is looking and saying, my overhead's up, what's driving it? And you have the ability now to say, well, clinic volume has increased, so scheduling support followed activity. PA coverage shifted to your location for 3 weeks, so the cost followed coverage. Well, that's defendable, and that makes sense. So which meeting sounds more like your current world and the world that you want to live in? Quick myth resets. Doctors always hate overhead. That's a myth. Reality is pushback rises when logic is unclear, inconsistent, or changing. Okay. Myth 2, even splits are fair. Splitting IT 50-50, 10-10-10-10-10 across the board. No, the reality is even splits can punish low usage and protect heavy usage. Myth 3, you need perfect data. No, the reality is strong drivers already exist in most practices. Visits, clinic days, procedures, or time, claim volume, collections. Start with what you have. And this is data you can probably get from your EMR or EHR system. And that data should integrate to your accounting system. If it doesn't, that's an amazing opportunity for you. Now, when the meeting gets heated, you need a reset. Here are some exact words that will work. Time out. I want to protect the conversation. Overhead exists. We're not debating whether it exists. We're focusing on 2 questions. Does the logic match how the practice runs? What decisions are we trying to make today? If the logic is weak, we capture it as a model issue with an owner and a date. Then we make today's decision using the most trusted view we have. Can we agree on the decision we're here to make today? That one question pulls the group back into the leadership mode. You're not dismissing fairness, you're sequencing it, right? We're going to address it, and we recognize there's some flaws in our data today and in our models. We've got a plan, and we're going to put a plan in place to fix it and make it reflect reality. But today, let's trust this data and let's move forward. You handle model improvements with discipline and timing. Don't wait. So here's the simple playbook leaders can run, and you can run this and turn it into a monster. Okay, step 1. Identify the top 3 cost pools causing the debate. Something is causing this and causing this frustration. PA support, billing, scheduling, facility, admin leadership, pick the big ones and let's just focus on them. Step 2, choose drivers that match operational reality. Visits, clinic days, procedures or time, claim volume, location usage. Use what leaders already recognize and what they care most about. Step 3, build a before and after view. This is a little more challenging than it sounds. And it's tough to keep it visual too. Show the old split and the new logic. People trust what they can understand, especially if this is something that's driving a monthly, a quarterly, biannually distribution process that your team has. You know, you might have grown and grown in lots of complexity over the years and be doing this all in Microsoft Excel. And showing a before and after view of a totally new allocation model, it's a big feat. And it takes a strong, skilled accountants and finance team members to do it. But I'm confident in you. From here, we need to now move into step 4. Keep the rules consistent and review exceptions monthly. Consistency is a trust builder. Exceptions should be documented and explained, not handled as secret adjustments. Step 5. Communicate the why in plain language and test behavior over 60 to 90 days. Trust grows through repeated experience. You want physicians to see the model behave consistently month to month. This is also where leadership wins back time. When the model is steady, you stop relitigating the same argument every month. So, if you fixed only the top 3 debate cost pools, would that solve most of the trust issues within your group? Well, I'm going to show you what this could look like. Before we do, we're going to talk about one other thing, and that's language matters here because overhead debates are emotional. Fairness is personal in physician-owned groups. Here are a few phrases that are going to help calm the room. Help me understand what feels off about the story the numbers are telling. We have to keep a mind of curiosity with this. And if we can keep curiosity and love at the top here, right? We're all in this to win. We're gonna be able to get through this. So another one is we're going to make the logic explainable and keep it consistent. We're not chasing perfection. We're building something defensible. If the number surprises you, we'll investigate the driver, not argue about the report. We'll document the rules so the report doesn't change with whoever runs it. And finally, let's test the logic over 60 to 90 days and see if the meeting gets calmer. Now, what not to say. These will inflame the room instantly. This is the best we can do. That signals surrender. Get over overhead. Get over it. That dismisses fairness. You don't understand finance. That's insulting. Let's not do that. The spreadsheet says it, so it's true. I've heard that. That kills trust. And another one, everyone else accepts it, especially if you say that one-on-one. That's going to sound, it really just sounds like pressure, not leadership. Here's the goal. You want the P&L conversation to sound like leadership. Calm, clear, focused on decisions, not defensive. Not personal, just disciplined. Can you think of one phrase you've heard in a meeting that instantly made the room worse? Hopefully it wasn't your last board meeting. So, time for the demo, because this is what I'm so excited to share with you. We love building systems and processes for practices who have the process improvement at the top of mind, who want to win back clarity, confidence, and direction. Let's make this tangible. I'm going to show you a demo of a physician P&L in Sage Intacct. This is a leading accounting system that our group absolutely loves and is partnered with. I'm not showing allocation setup screens today. It's going to be another time. The purpose is to show you what clean, consistent physician level reporting looks like, because reporting consistency supports trust. So let me hop over. You should be able to see my screen here. This is an awesome dashboard. When you've got a system that empowers a team with trust, this means not just your finance and accounting team can log into it. From here, your physicians should be able to log into this and have their own dedicated dashboard for them to see. Maybe it's filtered just on their data or their locations or their service lines. And if it's for physician owners, maybe they can see all physician owners' performance, including their own. At the end of the day, it should look something like this, where you've got amazing KPIs up at the top. You've got visuals that are showing performance by doctor, by department, by service line, and by time period. Okay? What you want first is stability. The same layout, same categories, same rhythm every month. When the report changes shape constantly, people assume the rules are changing too. This is why it's very important that the design and implementation of a dashboard and financial reports that are public facing must be tested and true before you deploy these across the organization. Especially if you're implementing a new accounting system today or looking to implement one in the near future here. Take very quick note of that, because if you go live and you grant access to physician owners and start distributing reports very quickly, and they're not the final reports, and you continue to adjust them every month, you will have a lot of questions, and it'll be a longer battle to achieve that trust that you so hope for. Leaders need context fast as well, and so month to month is useful, but year to date performance analysis helps you see whether you're dealing with a blip or a trend, which is why you can see over here we've got an ability to showcase month to date, quarter to date, year to date performance. You can even do this by month, by quarter, 1 year versus last year, the difference between the two. We even have the ability to filter by physician as well. Great things here. Notice this physician P&L. We can scroll to the right and see total performance. We also have the ability to drill in directly from our dashboards to see, well, what bills did we pay? What was this truly for? These categories can be totally customized. Maybe the team doesn't care about general administrative expense. That doesn't mean anything. But as you drill in, it's made up of different cost categories. Business licenses, dues and subscriptions, education, travel, IT investments, software. This can all be custom tailored to what truly drives the business, what truly are the highest cost pools, to help drive better decision making. And then finally, graphs and dashboards, right? These many systems can deliver these and make them look pretty. The challenge is designing them and leveraging them in a way that are going to help drive decision making and provide clarity about where you are, where you were, and where you're going in your business. The point is simple that I want to make here. Clean reporting creates a platform for better conversations. Okay? Then the practice can work on allocation logic without every meeting starting from distrust. So, before we wrap, here's a quick pressure test you can run this week. Ask your finance team to explain the top 5 overhead lines in plain language. Not accounting language. We know that there is a special language there. I love speaking it, by the way. But plain language. Ask what driver each cost follows and why it fits how the practice runs. Ask whether those rules stayed consistent for the last 3 months. Ask whether physicians can drill down into the detail when they question a number. Then do something simple and powerful. Ask a physician owner, does this story match what you see operationally? You're not asking them to approve the outcome, prove the numbers. You're asking them whether the logic matches reality. If the story doesn't match reality, trust won't hold. If the story matches reality, the meeting tone changes and leadership can do its job. So, thanks for listening to Beyond the Numbers. If you want a practical pressure test of your physician P&L, reporting, and trust, reach out. If you want a demo of Sage Intacct, leveraging the data from your current accounting system, we can deliver that and show you what a future might look like on a new platform. Either way, I'll see you next time where we go beyond the spreadsheets, beyond the chaos, of course, beyond the numbers.